Is your YouTube channel stagnant? Maybe you had a video take off, grew a little bit, and then it kind of stopped. Well, in this video, I'm going to talk about my interview I had with Shanygne of Too Much Mouth and how for her, she had the exact same scenario and was able to overcome it. Well, hello, YouTube Power Hour Squad. Well, welcome. My name is Erika Vieira, and I am a YouTube strategist and coach, having personally helped over 400 women since 2018 grow on YouTube. And in this video, I'm talking about my recent interview I had with Shanygne of Too Much Mouth. So Shanygne shared her story about how she grew on YouTube. And if you haven't checked out that interview, make sure you check it out after you watch this video. She had a ton of incredible insights into her career on YouTube, and the link is in the description below or in the cards. So Shanygne shared how she got onto YouTube years ago. She got onto YouTube in October of 2015. And she first started off doing makeup videos, and her second video took off, and that video helped to grow her channel very quickly. So for her, within the first year of starting on YouTube, she had 100,000 subscribers and was able to then quit her job and focus on YouTube full time, which was incredible. That was incredibly rapid growth. But then she talked about how she basically stalled a little bit. You know, after a while, being a makeup channel, she's like, I think people kind of get a little, over it or bored of it. And for her, she's like, how can I reinvent myself so that people continue to stay relevant? And one thing that she said that was really interesting was that she got to 100,000 pretty quickly, and then it took her a little while then to get to 150,000. And then she said, like, earlier this year, she got to 200,000. And that was, nearly 5 years later.
I would say, I did hit that 100,000 pretty quickly.
Yeah.
It took a minute to get to like 150,000.
But she says this year she's seen really rapid growth because of some of the changes that she made to her channel, which I want to talk about in this video, in regards to getting people to continue to come back and watch your videos. So for her, she said that it took her some time to then get from 100,000 to 200,000 subscribers. And she was kind of doing the same thing. She was doing the makeup reviews and the foundation reviews, which did really well on her channel, but she did feel that she wasn't growing as fast as she wanted to. She said that she made the decision to just kind of start having a little bit more fun with her channel and also showing more of her personality, which I think is a huge, huge lesson in general, that it is so important with YouTube to just be yourself. And I know it's such generic advice that it's like, okay, everyone says be yourself, but it is so, so important because today in 2020, there are a lot more people on YouTube. And so it's not like, well, I'm just going to show this makeup routine because, as Shanygne said, like, how many more like eyeshadow tutorials do we need? Like, do we really need another one? But what's going to make you stand out is your personality. And Shanygne realized that, and she brought that then to her channel here this year, 2020. And so, for her, she said she's been on YouTube since 2015, but she feels like she's really coming into her own here in 2020 by really showing her personality, and not just showing her personality, but incorporating other elements of who she is, not just makeup. And so, I do want to say that though with a bit of a disclaimer, because for Shanygne, she had built a nice audience. So for her to venture out of her niche is okay. And I also think at some point it is important to explore these other areas because you just never know what's going to take off. But for her, she started to also upload almost commentary videos on beauty brands and also the beauty community. So even though she went from doing mainly product reviews and tutorials to more commentary, it was still related to her niche. So she didn't venture too far out of her niche. She said that she has definitely done that. I mean, she talked about how one of her favorite videos that she created was a wrestling video because she really loves sports and she loves the world of wrestling.
But I get some type of, reaction when I talk about wrestling, and I really do.
And she says although she loved creating that video, it did okay on her channel. It didn't do amazing, it didn't do terrible, but great. For her it felt really good because it was ability for her to just kind of do something that she was also passionate about and share with her fans and followers this other side of her. So, granted for Shanygne, I think it worked, but I think it really works now because although she's not just doing makeup reviews and product reviews and tutorials, it's still within the niche of beauty and the beauty industry. And so for her, it's working. And for those of you watching, you might think, well, I need to stick with a niche. And I think for Shanygne, she did stick with a niche for some time, and that worked for her to get that first, 100,000 subscribers. But now she's able to venture out because she felt stagnant doing that, and she wanted to reinvent herself. And she's like, I do love the name of my channel, Too Much Mouth, because I love to talk a lot. And she's like, I can go from talking about makeup to talking about, commenting on these brands. I think the biggest takeaway from this interview is that, there's definitely ways that you can stand out from the crowd and also, reinvent yourself. Second thing she talked about, which is really, really important, is listening to your audience. Shanygne had a really good point in saying, don't just ask your audience what they want from you, but you need to listen to what they're actually saying. And that's so true. And so make a habit to ask people what they want from you. Ask them questions like, who are some of your favorite YouTubers? What are some of your favorite videos that you like watching, right? That helps you keep your finger on the pulse of what's happening right now within your own niche as well, because you can ask too, what are other channels of your own niche, whatever it is that you enjoy watching, and then go and study their channels, see what they're doing. If they happen to be doing really well, or maybe they're having some recent growth, get an idea of what they're doing, and that will help you kind of get out of your own world, because that's what can happen a lot of times. If you've been on YouTube for some time and maybe you've seen some level of success, and what you did got you to point, let's say, G, but you're going to need to make a totally different game plan if you want to get to M and another game plan to get to Z, right? So that's the thing with YouTube, is that it is changing, it is evolving, and you do need to be aware of what's happening. It's not just the algorithm. A lot of people want to say, oh, the algorithm's changed. The algorithm follows the audience, and I can go on and on about this, but it's really about, I think, people's consumption of the content changes, and there's just new things that people are interested in, and then those tend to be trends that tend to take off. So to not get stuck and stagnant, you do need to be aware of what is actually happening, but also the best resource for that is to ask your audience. Because if you're somebody who has had, say, a few viral videos, or you did see a level of success and it's now screeching to a halt, you do have an audience there that you can ask, and ask them, like, who else are you watching? Who do you love to watch? What are your favorite, X, Y, and Z videos to watch? And then see what they have to say and do your own homework to figure out what you might need to do in order to get back into the upswing of seeing growth. And then the next thing to really consider, and this is something else that Shanygne talked about, is focus on what's going on around you, like in your community of your niche. No one understands what's happening. And so it does go along a little bit with what I said, asking your audience, who they're watching, because you don't want to be caught in your own little world, in your own little bubble. You do need to be aware of what's happening, and also like what's happening on YouTube in general. Like, what is it that people seem to be enjoying? What is it that people seem to be watching? So here are the 3 things that Shanygne talked about, and that is a really good, I say, summary of what to do if you feel like your channel is stagnant. The first is to not just ask your audience what they want from you, but to listen to them. They will have some insight into what they like from you, what they don't like from you. That can be very, very helpful, right? You know, ask them the questions like I mentioned earlier. Who else are you watching? And that goes along with the other point of being aware of what's going on in your industry on YouTube, but also ask some questions about you. Like, what is your favorite video that I do for you? You know, what is your favorite video that you enjoy watching from me? What types of videos would you like to see more of that I do? Are there any videos I don't do that you'd like me to do, right? So ask your audience and really, really listen to them. That's a gold mine of information that you can use for your own channel. The second thing is go with your strengths. Like, know and understand what your strengths are. And what Shanygne talked about for her, it's her being able to have the gift of gab and being able to talk and share her opinion, which she has really doubled down on this year in 2020 with sharing her opinion on the beauty community. So for you is start to understand what is it that you are really, really good at. You know, in previous weeks, I interviewed Danelle and her about her vlogging channel. And, you know, for her, it was being able to tell a story and weave that into her vlogs. So know what your strengths are. Really think about what are your strengths. You know, what are your strengths, your experiences? What is it that you have that nobody else has, and you know, bring that to the table. And then the last thing is focusing on what is going on around you, to be aware of the trends that are happening in your own industry, in your own niche, and then also on YouTube as a whole. All right, so if you enjoyed this, comment below. Let me know if you might be somebody who has a channel that could be stagnant, that you feel like you've seen success, but all of a sudden it's stopped. Is that you? Comment below and let me know if any of these tips are something that you're gonna take away from. And also make sure you subscribe, hit that notification, like this video, because it really helps the algorithm. I also have a lot of other resources for you if you want to learn a little more about my bootcamp and my coaching in the description. I will see you in the next interview.